Captain Vexthor had been studying primitive species for 300 years. In all that time, he had never been wrong about a civilization's development speed. He prided himself on accuracy. His reports were used across the Galactic Union as examples of perfect observation. That's why the report on his screen made no sense. The humans were not supposed to have faster-than-light travel. Not for another 1,000 years, at least. His team had watched Earth for 4,000 years, taking notes, making predictions. The humans were slow. They fought each other constantly. They lived on a dangerous planet with wild weather, deadly animals, and diseases that should have killed them all. Yet somehow they survived. But surviving was different from thriving. The Union's models showed humans would reach basic space travel in another 500 years. Maybe. They were too aggressive, too fragile, too stuck on their violent little world. Except now there were human ships beyond their solar system, ships that moved faster than light, ships that used technology the Union had never seen before. Vexthor's hand trembled slightly as he marked the report as urgent. This changed everything. On Earth, Dr. Yuna stared at her computer screen in the research station orbiting the planet. She had been searching for alien signals for 6 years. Most scientists thought it was a waste of time. The universe was big and empty, they said. Humanity was probably alone. She never believed that. The math didn't work. Too many stars, too many planets. Life had to be out there somewhere, and now her screen was full of signals. Organized signals. Patterns that could only mean intelligence. Oh my God, she whispered. Her hands shook as she reached for the communication button. Commander, you need to see this. Right now. 2 hours later, every major government on Earth knew they weren't alone. Someone was out there, and whoever they were close. Very close. Lieutenant Jiwan stood in the command center of Earth Defense Station Aurelia, watching the data come in. She was a military officer, trained to handle threats. But how do you handle first contact with aliens? There was no training for this. No protocol that felt right. Should we send a message back? Someone asked. Not yet, Jiwan said. We don't know if they're friendly. We watch, we learn, then we decide. Near Jupiter, Minho was just trying to do his job. He was an engineer on a mining vessel, collecting ice from Europa. It was boring work usually. Today was different. Today his sensors picked up a ship that wasn't human. It was enormous, maybe 5 times the size of anything humanity had ever built. It moved smoothly through space, its hull shimmering with colors Minho had never seen before. Beautiful and terrifying at the same time. Are you seeing this? His captain shouted over the radio. Yeah, Minho said quietly. I'm seeing it. The alien ship didn't stop. It moved past them like they weren't even there. Minho realized something that made his blood run cold. They had been watching humans for a long time. Long enough to know where to find them. Long enough to not be surprised. In the Galactic Union's Central Council chamber, thousands of light years from Earth, the debate was loud and chaotic. Representatives from hundreds of species argued about what to do with the humans. They're dangerous, one delegate shouted. They come from a Class 12 death world. Nothing that violent should be allowed to spread. They're primitive, another argued. Yes, they have FTL now, but they barely understand it. We should guide them, help them grow peacefully. Council Prime Thalnex raised his hand for silence. He was old even by galactic standards. He had seen species rise and fall. He had overseen first contact with 47 civilizations. He knew how this worked. Send Captain Vexthor, he said. He has studied them the longest. He will make contact. We will offer them membership in the Union. Under standard terms. They will accept. They always do. But even as he said it, Thalnex felt uneasy. Something about the humans was different. Their development wasn't following the normal pattern. They had skipped steps that should have been impossible to skip. 3 days later, Vexthor's ship, the Luminary's Hope, appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system. He broadcast a message in multiple languages, mathematics first to show intelligence, then simple images. Then an offer, meet us, talk with us, join us. On Earth, the response was debated for hours. Some wanted to say yes immediately. Others wanted to wait, to prepare, to make sure humanity was ready. In the end, they agreed. They would meet. Dr. Yuna was chosen to be part of the contact team. She couldn't believe it. 6 years of searching. And now she would be the first human to meet an alien face to face. She was excited and terrified in equal measure. Lieutenant Jiwan was also chosen. The military insisted on having someone present who could assess threats. She didn't like it. This felt like a moment that should be about peace, not suspicion. But orders were orders. Ambassador Q would lead the team. He was a diplomat, experienced in difficult negotiations, though nothing in his career had prepared him for negotiating with beings from another world. The meeting was set for a neutral location. A small station built hastily between Earth and Mars. Both sides would bring minimal security. Both sides would come in peace. Vex Thor prepared carefully. He reviewed everything known about humans, bipedal like many species, relatively short-lived. They breathed oxygen. They needed water. They were omnivores, eating both plants and meat. Nothing unusual there. Many species fit that description. His science officer, a cautious being named Prilthos, was running biological scans as they approached the meeting point. "Captain," Prilthos said slowly, "I'm reading something strange." "Strange how?" "The humans' homeworld. I'm pulling up detailed data now that we're closer." "Captain, this planet should not have produced intelligent life. The gravity is high. The oxygen levels are dangerous. The weather systems are violent. The tectonic activity alone should have prevented stable civilization." Vex Thor frowned. "But they're here. They survived. That's what concerns me, sir. I want to run detailed scans during the meeting." "With your permission, granted, but be discreet. We don't want to seem threatening." The human ship arrived exactly on time. It was small and primitive by Union standards, but it moved with precision. Someone skilled was piloting it. When the airlock opened, Vex Thor got his first in-person look at humans. They stood upright on two legs, as expected. They wore simple clothes that seemed more decorative than functional. Their faces were expressive, showing emotion clearly. They looked fragile. Soft skin, no natural armor, no claws or fangs visible. Ambassador Q stepped forward and did something unexpected. He smiled, showing teeth. Vex Thor's training kicked in. In many species, showing teeth was a threat display. But humans were smiling. It seemed friendly. He hoped it was friendly. "Welcome," Q said in perfect galactic common. They had learned fast. "We are honored to meet you." "The honor is ours," Vex Thor replied. "On behalf of the Galactic Union, I welcome humanity to the greater community of intelligent life." They shook hands. A human custom, Vex Thor had learned. Physical contact to show trust. His hand felt small in the human's grip. And the human was warm, very warm. Their body temperature was higher than he expected. Dr. Yuna was asking questions immediately, excited and curious. Lieutenant Jiwon stood quietly, watching everything with alert eyes. Vex Thor noticed she never fully relaxed. A soldier's instinct. The formal meeting began. Vex Thor explained the Union. Thousands of species living in peace. Advanced technology shared freely. Exploration and science valued above all. A utopia among the stars. The humans listened carefully. They asked good questions. Smart questions. They understood quickly, made connections faster than most species did during first contact. But in the background, Prilthos was running scans. And what those scans revealed would change everything. The science officer's face went pale. He checked the readings 3 times, certain there was an error. There wasn't. He sent a private message to Vex Thor's communication device. "Captain, we have a serious problem. The humans are not what we thought. Their biology is... I don't have words. You need to see this immediately." Vex Thor excused himself politely, claiming he needed to check on his ship. But inside, his mind was racing. What could possibly be wrong? When he reached the private chamber where Prilthos waited, the science officer showed him the scans. Vex Thor read them once, then again, then a third time. "This can't be right," he whispered. "It is, sir. I've verified it completely. Captain, these humans are not just survivors of a death world. They're apex predators. Their bodies are built for combat. Every system is redundant. Their bones are incredibly dense. Their healing factor is unlike anything in Union records. And this substance they produce called adrenaline." Vex Thor stared at the scan results, feeling cold fear creep through him. The humans weren't fragile at all. They were weapons. Biological weapons that had evolved naturally on a planet trying to kill them. And humanity had just been invited to join the Galactic Union. What had they done? The formal dinner was meant to be a celebration. A peaceful beginning to humanity's relationship with the galaxy, Long tables held food from both Earth and various Union worlds. Music played softly in the background. Everyone smiled and talked politely, but Captain Vexthor couldn't focus on any of it. His mind kept returning to those medical scans, the impossible biology of the creatures sitting across from him, eating and laughing like they were normal. Ambassador Q was telling a story about Earth's history. Something about ancient explorers crossing oceans in wooden ships. The Union delegates listened politely, finding it quaint. Primitive beings doing primitive things they didn't understand. Vexthor was beginning to, and it terrified him. "Tell me, Ambassador." Vexthor interrupted gently. "Your planet. You call it Earth. What is the gravity there?" "Oh, about 9.8 meters per second squared," Q said cheerfully. "Why do you ask?" Several Union delegates gasped. That was high. Very high. Most civilized species evolved on planets with gravity between 6 and 8. Anything higher was considered a death world classification. "And the oxygen content?" Vexthor pressed. "About 21%, Dr. Yuna answered. "Is that unusual?" "Unusual? It was deadly. Oxygen was corrosive. Most species breathed atmospheres with 8 to 12% oxygen. 21% should have killed them through oxidative stress." Vexthor's science officer, Prilthos, couldn't stay quiet anymore. "Forgive me for asking, but your planet's weather systems. I've reviewed the data. You have storms that can level entire cities, temperature swings of 50 degrees or more. How did you survive long enough to develop civilization?" The humans looked at each other, confused by the question. "Well," Dr. Yuna said slowly, "we built shelters. We learned to predict weather patterns. We adapted our clothing. It's just what you do, right? Just what you do." As if surviving on a planet that was actively hostile to life was simple. As if it was normal, Lieutenant Jiwan spoke for the first time. "Is your planet not like this? Earth is dangerous." "Dangerous?" Prilthos' voice cracked slightly. "Your planet is rated Class 12 on the habitability scale. Class 12, do you understand what that means? Only 3 other planets in that category have ever been discovered. None produced intelligent life. Most species can't even visit death worlds without environmental suits." Baram, the human medical specialist, leaned forward with interest. "Really? What kind of planets do your species come from?" Over the next hour, the humans learned the truth. The galaxy was mostly peaceful. Gentle worlds with stable climates, reasonable gravity, and mild atmospheres. Evolution happened slowly there. Species developed without constant threat of extinction. They learned cooperation because cooperation was easy, when survival wasn't at stake. Earth was different. Earth was a nightmare world where everything tried to kill everything else. Where weather could wipe out populations. Where diseases evolved as fast as immunity could develop. Where the very ground could open up and swallow cities whole. And humans had not just survived. They had thrived. "But surely you have adaptations?" Researcher Dayun, a Union anthropologist, asked nervously. "Natural armor? Protective shells? Something." "We have skin," Borum said. "And we heal pretty fast, I guess." "How fast?" Borum shrugged. "Depends on the injury. A small cut might heal in a week. A broken bone takes a couple months." The Union delegates stared in horror. That was incredibly fast. Most species took years to heal major injuries. Some never fully recovered. "And you can survive broken bones?" Dayon asked. "Well, yeah," Borum said. "I mean, it hurts. But you just set the bone, maybe use a cast and wait, it heals. Bones are pretty strong." Dr. Hiravan, the Union's biological warfare expert, had been silent until now. She was studying the humans like they were weapons, which she was realizing they were. "Tell me about your medical capabilities," she said. "What injuries can humans survive?" The humans looked uncomfortable. "That's a pretty broad question," Borum said. "It depends on a lot of factors. Give me examples. What would be considered a serious injury for humans?" Borum thought for a moment. "Well, if someone loses a limb, that's serious. Though we can sometimes reattach them if we act fast. Major organ damage is serious, though we have 2 kidneys and 2 lungs, so losing one isn't immediately fatal. Severe blood loss is serious, but we can do transfusions. Head injuries are always concerning, but the skull is thick, so the brain is pretty well protected." Each sentence made the Union delegates more uncomfortable. These weren't survival adaptations. This was a species built to take damage and keep functioning. "What about this substance my scans detected?" Hiravan said, pulling up data on her device. "Adrenaline." "What does it do?" Oh, that's our fight-or-flight response, Dr. Yuna explained. When we're in danger, our body releases adrenaline. It makes us stronger temporarily. Faster reaction time, dulls pain, sharpens focus. It's an evolutionary advantage. It's a combat drug, Hiravan said flatly. Your body naturally produces a substance that would be illegal in Union space. Do you understand? You have a biological weapon system built into your metabolism. The humans looked at each other, clearly not understanding why this was such a big deal. Admiral Taiwan arrived late to the dinner. He was the commander of Earth's United Defense Fleet, and he had been busy preparing reports for the Union. He was a tall man, built solid from years of military training. He moved with confidence and purpose. Every Union delegate in the room felt their fear response trigger when he entered. Predator. Their instincts screamed it. This was a predator. Sorry I'm late, Taiwan said with a friendly smile. Paperwork, you know how it is. But Vexthor noticed something. The Admiral's eyes. They tracked movement constantly, watching, assessing, looking for threats even in this peaceful setting. It was unconscious behavior, predator instinct. Admiral, Vexthor said carefully, I've been learning about Earth. Tell me, what animals did humans evolve alongside? Oh, lots of them, Taiwan said, sitting down and serving himself food. Big cats, bears, wolves, snakes, crocodiles, sharks, lots of insects. Why? Those are all predators, Daeun said quietly. Well, yeah, Earth has a lot of predators. We learn to avoid them, or fight them when necessary. Fight them, not hide from them, not evolve camouflage or speed. Fight them. How did humans become the dominant species on Earth? Vexthor asked. Persistence hunting mostly, Dr. Yuna said. Our ancestors would chase prey for hours, sometimes days. Most animals are faster than us in short bursts, but we can run forever. We'd just chase them until they collapsed from exhaustion, then we'd kill them. The room went very quiet. You hunted by chasing prey until it died of exhaustion? Taiwan asked weakly. It's very efficient, Yuna said, not understanding the horror on the aliens' faces. Humans have the best endurance in the animal kingdom. We can run for hours without stopping. We can go days without sleep if necessary. Our bodies are built for endurance, Borum added helpfully. We also have excellent thermoregulation. We sweat to cool down, which is pretty rare in Earth animals. It gives us a huge advantage in persistence hunting. Hiravan was typing rapidly on her device, checking something. Her face went even paler. I need to excuse myself, she said abruptly, standing up. Council Prime Thalnex needs to see this data immediately. She left quickly, almost running. The other Union delegates looked nervous. Ambassador Q sensed the mood shifting. Is something wrong? Have we offended you in some way? No, Vexthor said. Not offended, just learning. Tell me, Ambassador, what do humans do for entertainment? The next hour was possibly worse than the biology lesson. The humans explained sports, games where people deliberately crashed into each other at high speed. Competitions where the goal was to hit each other until one person couldn't continue. Activities where humans threw themselves out of aircraft for fun. And people don't die doing these things? Daeun asked. Oh, sometimes they do, Q admitted. But we have safety measures. Most of the time people just get injured. Like injury was acceptable. Like pain was entertainment. Lieutenant Jiwan pulled up videos on her device, showing Union delegates human sports, football, rugby, hockey, boxing, mixed martial arts. The Union delegates watched in silent horror as humans deliberately hurt each other, got back up, and continued. They watched athletes break bones and finish competitions. They watched fighters get hit in the face repeatedly and smile about it. This is what you do for fun? Prilthos asked. Some people, yeah, Jiwan said. I personally prefer quieter activities. Reading, hiking. Hiking? Walking in nature. Mountains, usually. Good exercise. Mountains, Prilthos repeated. High gravity, thin atmosphere, dangerous terrain. You do this. For fun? It's peaceful, Jiwan said simply. Later that night, back on his ship, Vexthor met with his senior staff. They reviewed all the data. The picture it painted was clear and terrifying. Humans evolved on a death world. They survived through adaptation, intelligence, and sheer stubbornness. Their bodies were built to take incredible damage. Their minds were built to keep functioning under stress. Their culture celebrated endurance and survival. They were apex predators who had conquered their planet through persistence and cooperation. They had eliminated every threat on their world. And now they were coming to the stars. What do we tell the Council? Prilthos asked quietly. 3 months after first contact, the merchant vessel Steady Horizon prepared for its routine supply run to Nexus 7, the largest trading hub in the nearby sector. Captain Hyun checked his cargo manifest for the 3rd time, making sure everything was in order. Medicine, manufactured goods, cultural items. Nothing dangerous. Nothing that should cause problems. The Union had been generous with trade agreements. They were curious about human products, and Earth needed resources that were common in space, but rare on the planet. It was a good arrangement. Everyone benefited. Hyun had made this run twice before without incident. The Union escort ships were professional and friendly. The trade stations were well organized. Space travel, he had discovered, was actually pretty boring most of the time. His crew was small, 20 people total. Ensign Nari was his second in command, young but capable. The rest were cargo handlers, engineers, and 1 security officer. Standard for a merchant vessel, they also carried passengers. 15 civilians heading to Nexus 7 for various reasons. Trade negotiations, cultural exchange, tourism. Among them was Sora, a school teacher who wanted to see alien worlds and bring stories back to her students. Union observer Pelnith was also aboard. Every human ship traveling in Union space was required to carry an observer. Official policy was that observers were there to help humans adapt to galactic society. Everyone knew the real reason. The Union was still nervous about humans. They wanted eyes on every ship, making sure humans didn't accidentally terrify anyone. Pelnith was a decent sort, Hyun thought. Nervous around humans, but trying to be friendly. He asked a lot of questions about human culture and was always taking notes. The convoy departed on schedule. 3 Union escort vessels surrounded the Steady Horizon, standard protection for civilian ships in this sector. Space pirates were rare but not unheard of, so precautions were sensible. 6 hours into the journey, the sensors picked up multiple ships approaching fast. Too fast. Wrong trajectory. Captain, we have incoming, Nari said, her voice steady but concerned. Configuration matches known pirate vessels. Velcor Raiders. Yoon felt his stomach drop. The Velcor Raiders were legendary. They had been terrorizing Union space for decades. No one had ever successfully fought them off. The standard protocol was simple. Surrender, let them take the cargo, survive. The Union escort ships immediately broadcast their intention to surrender. Their weapons powered down. Shields dropped. They transmitted their cargo manifests and passenger lists. Steady Horizon, this is Union Escort Commander Vextil. The radio crackled. Follow our lead. Power down weapons and shields. Transmit your manifest. Do not resist. I repeat, do not resist. The Velcor will take cargo and leave. Resistance means death. Hyun looked at Nari. She looked back at him. Neither spoke for a moment. Captain? Nari asked quietly. Orders? Hyun thought about his crew, his passengers. Sora, the teacher who just wanted to see the stars. The young couple on their honeymoon. The elderly man visiting his daughter at Nexus 7. He thought about Earth, about humanity's history, about the fact that his ancestors had never surrendered easily to anything. Charge weapons, he said. Raise shields, battle stations. Captain? Pelnith shouted, his voice high with panic. You cannot fight the Velcor. No one fights the Velcor. You will doom us all. We're human, Hyun said simply. We don't surrender our ship. The Velcor ships opened fire on the Union escorts first. Carefully calibrated shots that disabled engines but didn't destroy. Pirates wanted ships and cargo, not debris. The Union vessels drifted helplessly, crew unharmed but unable to flee. Then the Velcor turned their attention to the Steady Horizon. Unknown vessel, power down immediately or be destroyed, the pirate commander broadcast. Hyun opened a channel. This is Captain Hyun of the human vessel Steady Horizon. Leave now or face the consequences. There was a pause. Then laughter. Cruel, amused laughter. Humans, the pirate said. We have heard of you. Soft creatures from a soft world playing at space travel. Power down, little human. This doesn't concern you. Last warning, Hyun said. Leave, now. Kill them, the pirate commander ordered. The Velcor opened fire. Their weapons were military grade, far beyond what a merchant vessel should be able to withstand. But the Steady Horizon's shields held, human shields, built by engineers, who grew up on a death world and assumed everything in space would try to kill them. Hyun smiled grimly. Return fire. Human weapons were different from Union weapons. The Union preferred energy weapons, precise and clean. Humans used kinetic weapons, mass drivers that threw metal projectiles at incredible speed, simple, reliable, devastating. The first salvo punched through the lead pirate ship's shields like they weren't there. The second salvo tore through armor. The ship began venting atmosphere. The pirates had never encountered resistance before. They had no tactics for it. They had numbers and weapons and centuries of experience with prey that didn't fight back, but humans fought back. Always. The space battle lasted 7 minutes. 7 minutes of chaos, fire, and violence. The Steady Horizon took heavy damage. Hull breaches on 3 decks. 2 crew members killed in the first exchange. 5 more seriously injured, but the ship kept fighting, kept moving, kept firing. 1 pirate ship was destroyed, another disabled. The third retreated, broadcasting confused panic to their command. Then the pirates did what they had done for centuries when threatened. They boarded. 40 Velcor warriors materialized inside the Steady Horizon's cargo bay via teleportation technology, armed with advanced weapons, armored, experienced, expecting easy prey. They found humans instead. Captain Hyun's security officer had distributed weapons to any crew member who could use them. Standard protocol on Earth ships. In space, everyone knew how to fight. The Velcor entered the cargo bay expecting terrified civilians. They found Ensign Nari with a rifle, 3 cargo handlers with pistols, and Sora, the school teacher, holding a fire axe she had pulled from an emergency station. The Velcor fired first, energy weapons designed to stun, not kill. Pirates wanted live captives for ransom. The first shot hit one of the cargo handlers, dropping him instantly. Humans fired back. Kinetic weapons, designed to kill. 3 Velcor warriors went down in the first exchange. The rest scattered for cover, suddenly realizing their prey had teeth. Nari took a shot to the shoulder. The energy blast burned through her uniform, searing flesh. It should have knocked her unconscious. Instead, she stumbled back, gasped in pain, and kept firing. Observer Pelnith, hiding behind cargo containers, watched in absolute horror as the injured human continued fighting. That injury should have incapacitated any Union species. The human just grimaced and adapted. Fall back, Nari shouted to her team. Section by section, don't let them advance. The fighting moved through the ship, corridor by corridor, room by room. The Velcor had numbers. The humans had desperation and death world reflexes. In the medical bay, one of the injured cargo handlers regained consciousness. He had been hit in the chest with an energy weapon. He should have been dead, or at least unconscious, for days. Instead, he woke up 20 minutes later, found a pistol, and rejoined the fight. Pelnith couldn't comprehend it. Injuries that should kill just made humans angry. Sora, the school teacher, found herself cornered by 2 Velcor warriors. They advanced confidently, weapons ready to stun. She surprised them by attacking first, swinging the fire axe with strength born from a life lived in high gravity. The first Velcor went down hard. The second fired, hitting her in the leg. She fell, screaming. The Velcor moved in for the capture. Sora grabbed a piece of broken pipe from the floor and smashed it across his faceplate, cracking the armor. When he stumbled, she hit him again, and again, and again. Later, Pelnith would tell other Union observers about this. The image was burned into his memory. A civilian, a teacher, injured and outmatched, refusing to stop fighting, refusing to surrender, refusing to die. Captain Hyun coordinated the defense from the bridge, his voice calm despite the chaos. When 3 Velcor breached the bridge, he met them with a pistol in one hand and a piece of metal pipe in the other. He took 2 energy blasts, one in the leg and one in the side. He kept fighting, killed one Velcor with the pistol, clubbed another unconscious with the pipe. The third one retreated in pure panic. The battle lasted 2 hours. When it finally ended, the Velcor were either dead, captured, or had retreated. The steady horizon was a wreck. Atmosphere leaking from multiple hull breaches. Fire suppression systems working overtime. Blood on almost every floor. The human casualties were staggering by Union standards. 8 dead, 15 injured, some critically. Out of a crew and passenger list of 35, more than 40% were casualties. By human military standards, it was acceptable losses. The ship survived. The cargo was intact. The enemy was defeated. Union rescue ships arrived 30 minutes later. They found the steady horizon still functional, crew making repairs, injured personnel working through their pain. Pelnith, traumatized and shaking, gave his report to the rescue commander. They wouldn't surrender. Even when injured, they kept fighting. I saw a human take an energy blast that should have killed him, and he just got angry and shot back. They're not normal. They're not like us. They're dangerous. The rescue commander finished quietly. The captured Velcor pirate lord was brought before Union authorities. The Galactic Union Council chamber had never been this loud. 847 species, thousands of representatives all shouting at once. The noise was overwhelming. Council Prime Thalnex raised his hands for silence, but no one listened. 300 species wanted humanity quarantined immediately. Another 200 wanted human protection services. The rest were somewhere in between, unsure what to think. Ambassador Jiho stood at the center of it all, waiting patiently for his turn to speak. He had been a diplomat for 20 years. He had negotiated peace treaties during Earth's unification wars. He had brought together nations that had hated each other for centuries, but he had never faced anything like this. They're too dangerous, someone shouted. The Velcor have terrorized our space for decades. Humanity destroyed them in hours. Exactly, another voice called back. We need that strength. We need protection. You want to turn loose a species of death world predators? Are you insane? Jiho waited. Eventually, they would give him a chance to speak. Until then, patience was the best strategy. In a quiet office far from the council chamber, xenobiologist Sunwoo was having a much calmer conversation. Across from him sat Ventara, a Union Council member from a species called the Pelthians. She was a moderate, willing to listen before judging. Help me understand, Ventara said softly. Why do humans fight when the logical choice is surrender? Sunwoo thought carefully before answering. Because surrender means you've lost control of your fate. Humans evolved in an environment where losing control meant death, so we learned to fight for every advantage, every chance, every moment of survival. But the Velcor would have let them live, taken the cargo and left. Maybe. But Captain Hyun had no guarantee of that. So he fought. It's not that we want violence, Ventara. It's that we're very, very bad at accepting helplessness. That sounds exhausting. Sunwoo smiled. It is. But it also means we don't give up easily. Once we commit to something, we see it through. Peace, friendship, cooperation. We pursue those just as stubbornly as we fight threats. Ventara made notes on her device. I'm trying to convince my colleagues that humans aren't monsters. But after the Steady Horizon incident, we saved lives, Sunwoo interrupted gently. The Union escort survived because we fought. The Velcor won't raid that route again. Yes, we were violent. Yes, we were dangerous. But we were also effective. That's what scares them. Back in the council chamber, Jiho finally got his chance to speak. The noise died down as he approached the central platform. Thousands of eyes from hundreds of different species watched him. Honored council members, he began. I understand your fear. Truly I do. Humanity is different from most species you've encountered. We come from a harsh world. We evolved through struggle. Our history is filled with conflict. Murmurs of agreement rippled through the chamber. But, Jiho continued, our history is also filled with cooperation. Yes, we fought each other. We also built civilizations together. We created art, music, literature. We explored not just to conquer, but to learn. We developed medicine not just to survive, but to help others survive. Pretty words, someone shouted. But we've seen what you do when threatened. Yes, Jiho said calmly. You have. We defend ourselves. We protect what matters to us. Is that so wrong? Would you rather we surrendered? Let pirates take what they wanted? Let criminals operate without consequence? You killed them. They came to take our people. They fired first. They boarded our ship with weapons. What did you expect us to do? Thank them? The chamber went quiet. Uncomfortable but quiet. Humanity doesn't want to conquer the galaxy, Jiho said. We just want to be part of it. We want to trade, to learn, to grow. We want friends and partners. But we won't apologize for surviving. We won't apologize for being good at it. Somewhere in the crowd, a young human was having her own moment. Her name was Minji. She was 8 years old, and she had been visiting a Union station with her parents when the Species Purity movement attacked. The Species Purity movement was an extremist group led by a radical named Korveth. They believed the Union should only include species that evolved peacefully. Death World species were aberrations, monsters. They needed to be eliminated. The bomb went off in a crowded marketplace. Minji was caught in the blast. Union medical teams rushed to help, but they were overwhelmed. The injuries were severe, and they had limited experience with human physiology. A Union doctor named Telvan did his best. The human child was dying, multiple internal injuries, severe burns, blood loss. By Union standards, she was already dead, but he kept working, following the emergency human medical protocols that had been distributed after the Steady Horizon incident. To his shock, the child survived. More than survived. 3 days later, she was awake and talking. A week later, she was walking. 2 weeks later, she gave an interview that went viral across Union space. "Are you angry at the people who hurt you?" the interviewer asked. Minji, still bandaged and healing, shook her head. "No, they're just scared. My teacher says that scared people make bad choices sometimes. I hope they feel better soon." 8 years old, severely injured, and her response was forgiveness and hope. The image of that child, smiling despite her injuries, expressing concern for the people who tried to kill her, changed something in the Union. It was harder to call humans monsters when their children showed such compassion. General Su-hyun saw the opportunity and took it. She proposed the Human Auxiliary Defense Initiative to the Union Council. The idea was simple. Humans would train Union security forces in what she carefully called resilience tactics, not combat. Not warfare. Resilience. Most Union species, Su-hyun explained to a packed briefing room, evolved in environments where injury meant death, so your instinct is to avoid injury at all costs. This makes sense, but it also means you're vulnerable to any threat that doesn't care about your survival. She pulled up tactical displays. Humans can teach your security forces how to function when injured, how to keep working when tired, how to maintain focus under pressure. These aren't aggressive skills. They're survival skills. They'll make your people safer. The proposal was controversial. Many species saw it as humanity trying to militarize the Union. Others saw it as a practical solution to the pirate problem. Sunwoo published his research paper during this time. Human Resilience as Galactic Asset, Why Fear is the Wrong Response became required reading for Union diplomats. He argued that Death World adaptations weren't inherently violent. They were problem-solving tools. Humans don't see obstacles as reasons to give up, he wrote. We see them as problems to solve. This makes us persistent, yes, sometimes stubborn, but it also makes us innovative. We think differently because we had to, and that different thinking can benefit everyone. The paper helped. Slowly, opinion began to shift. Multiple Union species started requesting human specialists. Not soldiers, specialists. Human doctors were in high demand because they had experience with trauma that Union physicians couldn't imagine. Human engineers solved problems that other species considered impossible. Human rescue workers saved lives in situations that Union teams wouldn't even attempt. A mining colony trapped by a cave-in, deep underground with no power and failing life support. Union Rescue assessed it as a total loss, too dangerous to attempt recovery. Human rescue specialists went in anyway, working for 72 hours straight in conditions that should have killed them. They brought out every single miner alive. A space station suffering cascading system failures. Union evacuation protocol called for abandoning the station. Human engineers stayed behind, working in sections that had lost atmosphere, using pressure suits and determination to prevent a complete disaster. They saved the station and 6,000 Union civilians. Each incident changed perceptions. Slowly, fear turned to respect. Not everywhere. Not everyone. But enough. Council member Ventara worked tirelessly to build support for full human membership in the Union. She gave speeches, wrote proposals, met with representatives from hundreds of species. I know you're afraid, she told them. I was afraid too. But I've met humans. I've worked with them. Yes, they're strong. Yes, they're dangerous when threatened. But they're also kind. They're funny. They're curious. They want the same things we want: safety, community, purpose. But what if they turn on us? Someone always asked. What if they don't? Ventara would reply. What if we make them our friends instead of our enemies? What if we learn from them instead of fearing them? Humans survived their death world by working together. They can teach us to do the same. The debate raged for months. Jiho remained at the Union capital, giving interviews, attending meetings, answering the same questions over and over. He was tired, but he kept going. That human stubbornness that terrified so many species. Then the emergency signal arrived from the frontier. A signal that would end all debate immediately. The Kresh hive had returned. The news hit the council chamber like a bomb. Species that had been arguing about human membership suddenly had much bigger problems. The Kresh were back. The devouring swarm that nearly destroyed the galaxy 10,000 years ago. The threat that took the combined might of 300 species to barely defeat. They were back, and Union forces were in full retreat. Council Prime Thalnex called an emergency session. The Kresh hive spread across the frontier like a plague. 17 Union systems lost in 3 weeks. Millions dead. Billions displaced. Every species that encountered them understood the same horrible truth. The Kresh didn't negotiate. They didn't take prisoners. They consumed everything. Fleet Admiral Chanwu studied the tactical displays on his flagship's bridge. The numbers were bad, very bad. The Kresh outnumbered Union forces 10-1. Their bioships regenerated damage faster than conventional weapons could inflict it. Their swarm tactics overwhelmed standard defensive formations. But Chanwu had studied military history his entire life. He knew that numbers weren't everything. Neither was technology. Sometimes what mattered most was simple stubbornness. Send the deployment orders, he said calmly. All human fleets to the Terminus system. We make our stand there. His second-in-command looked worried. Sir, strategic analysis suggests Terminus can't be held. The Kresh will come in force, I know. Then why? Because if Terminus falls, 3 major Union worlds are exposed. 20 billion civilians. We hold Terminus or we lose everything behind it. The odds don't matter, Chanwu said with a slight smile. Humans are very good at bad odds. On the front lines, Corporal Yunji checked her squad's equipment one more time. 12 Marines, young but well-trained. They knew what they were facing. The Kresh didn't leave survivors. Listen up, she said, her voice carrying authority beyond her years. I'm not going to lie to you. This is going to be the hardest fight any of us have ever faced. The Kresh are fast. They're vicious. They don't stop coming. Her squad looked nervous but determined. But here's the thing, Yunji continued. Neither do we. We're human. We evolved on a planet that tried to kill us every single day. These bugs, they're just another Tuesday. We hold the line. No matter what, got it? Yes, Corporal. The squad shouted in unison. Dr. Hajun set up his medical station as close to the front as regulations allowed. Which meant he was probably too close, but that was fine. He had requested forward deployment specifically. Human doctors were in high demand because they could work in conditions that would incapacitate Union medical staff. A Union medic watched him work, fascinated and horrified. You're really going to operate here? Under fire? In these conditions? Where else would I be? Hajun asked, organizing supplies. Soldiers get hurt at the front, so doctors go to the front, simple. But the danger is why they need me. Hajun smiled. Don't worry. I've worked in worse conditions. Medical school in a high-gravity war zone teaches you to adapt. Civilian volunteers poured in from across human space. Cargo pilots, engineers, technicians. People with no military training who simply refused to run while others fought. Isol was one of them. She piloted a cargo hauler, transporting supplies to the front lines. Military command had ordered civilian evacuation. She ignored it. You're going to get killed, a Union logistics officer told her. Maybe, Isol said cheerfully, but those soldiers need ammunition and medical supplies. Someone has to bring it to them. Might as well be me. This is insane. Humans are insane. Yeah, probably. But we're useful insane. Now, where do you need this stuff delivered? The Battle of Terminus Station began on a Tuesday morning by Earth's calendar. The Kresh arrived in massive numbers, their bioships blotting out the stars. Union forces fought bravely, but they were being pushed back steadily. Then the human fleets arrived. Admiral Chanwu didn't bother with fancy tactics. Human military doctrine was simple and brutal. Find the enemy, hit them hard, keep hitting until one side couldn't fight anymore. All ships, he broadcast. Forward formation. Don't stop until you're in their faces. Then make them regret meeting us. The human ships charged directly into the Kresh swarm. Union observers thought they were committing suicide. Then the humans opened fire. Human weapons were different. While Union forces used precise energy weapons, humans preferred explosive force. Missiles, kinetic weapons, nuclear devices. Tools designed by a species that understood overkill was sometimes the only kill. The first wave of Kresh bioships disintegrated under concentrated human fire. The second wave fared no better. The third wave actually made it into close range, where they discovered that human ships had one more surprise. Point defense systems, hundreds of automated guns that tracked and destroyed anything that got close. The Kresh had never encountered defensive systems this aggressive. They were designed to swarm and overwhelm. Humans were designed to make them regret it. On the station itself, Corporal Yunji's squad held Docking Bay 7. The Kresh came in waves, biological nightmares with claws and acid and far too many teeth. They moved fast, attacking with mindless ferocity. The Marines held. When ammunition ran low, they switched to backup weapons. When those ran out, they used whatever they could find. Yunji personally beat a Kresh warrior to death with a broken pipe when her rifle jammed. Is she supposed to be able to do that? A Union soldier asked, watching in shock. Humans can do that when they need to, his human partner explained. High-gravity world, remember? Our muscles are dense. Our bones are heavy. We hit hard. The fighting went on for hours, then days. The Kresh kept coming. The humans kept holding. Dr. Hajun worked non-stop for 72 hours straight. Union medics watched in disbelief as he performed surgery after surgery, treating both human and alien wounded with equal efficiency. He operated with hands that should have been shaking from exhaustion, saving lives that Union doctrine would have written off as lost. How are you still functioning? A Union nurse asked. Coffee, Hajun said, taking a quick sip from a cup. And stubbornness. Mostly stubbornness. He turned back to his patient, a Union soldier with multiple injuries. You're going to be fine. We don't lose patients on my watch. Union General Thexamara commanded the combined forces from the station's command center. He had been skeptical of human capabilities despite all the reports. 3 days into the battle, he was a convert. They don't fight like normal species, he told his staff. They don't calculate acceptable losses and retreat when they hit those numbers. They just keep fighting. They take casualties that would break any other unit, and they get angry about it and fight harder. Is that a good thing? Someone asked. Against the Kresh? Yes, absolutely yes. The Kresh expect prey to break, to run. Humans don't break. They bend, they adapt, but they don't break. Thexamara pulled up tactical data. Look at this. Docking Bay 7 has been under continuous assault for 4 days. Corporal Yunji's squad has taken 60% casualties. By any reasonable military doctrine, they should have withdrawn 3 days ago. Why haven't they? Because Yunji refuses. She says the bay is tactically critical and she's holding it. When I ordered her to fall back, she said, and I quote, "With respect, sir, we're good here." They've been good there for 4 days. The turning point came on the 6th day. A Kresh bioship, one of their massive command vessels, moved into range of the station. It was bigger than anything humanity had ever built, bristling with biological weapons and carrying thousands of warrior forms. A Union tactical officer ran the numbers. If that ship deploys its full complement, the station will be overrun. We need to evacuate. Admiral Chanwu studied the situation. Can we board it? Everyone stared at him. Sir, his second-in-command said carefully, you want to board a Kresh command ship? The atmosphere inside is toxic to most species. The temperature alone would kill most Union personnel. And there are thousands of Kresh warriors inside. I asked if we can board it, not if it's safe. Technically, yes, but then we board it. Chanwu smiled that dangerous human smile. Get me volunteers. Tell them the atmosphere is toxic, the odds are terrible, and we're probably not coming back. 600 humans volunteered in the first 30 seconds. The boarding action was later studied in military academies across the Union as either brilliant or insane. Probably both. Human Marines in sealed armor cut their way into the crash ship. The atmosphere inside was indeed toxic. The temperature was extreme. The gravity was wrong. None of it stopped the humans. They fought through the bioship corridor by corridor, room by room. The crash had numbers. The humans had determination and an absolute refusal to quit. Corporal Yunji led the assault on the command chamber. Her squad was down to 4 members, all injured to various degrees. She herself had taken 2 hits from Kresh bioweapons and was still functioning. "How are you not dead?" a Kresh warrior asked in perfect Union common, its intelligence surprising everyone. "Because I'm not done yet," Yunji said, and shot it. The command chamber fell. With it, the entire Kresh command ship lost coordination. Its biosystems began failing. The warriors on the station suddenly found themselves without direction, easy targets for organized defense. The tide turned. Slowly at first, then rapidly, the Kresh began retreating, something Union forces had never seen them do before. They regrouped, assessed, and fell back to their origin system. The Battle of Terminus was over. The cost was staggering. 15% of human forces were casualties, 800 dead, 3,000 wounded. By human military standards, it was heavy but acceptable. The mission succeeded. By Union standards, it was a catastrophe. No Union military force had ever taken 15% casualties and remained combat effective. Most would have collapsed at 5%, but the humans had held.